Hello there, I am Kevin Sylvester.
And I'm Basil Sylvester.
And we did this, the Fabulous Zed Watson.
You wrote it.
The Fabulous Zed Watson! I always got to remember that because of the exclamation point at the end.
There's an exclamation point.
Monsters. Zed loves monsters. Why?
Because monsters are cool!
Okay, monsters are definitely cool.
That's
Yes.
it! That's the video. No, I think...
This from the kid who has, like, Dracula, Frankenstein. You have monsters all over the place in your wardrobe. Not today, but...
I couldn't find my monster shirt. I have a monster shirt. It's got, like, all of the classic.
Yes!
It's got, like, Bela Lugosi. It's got Boris Karloff. It's got... I forget who played, like, Wolfman and Creature from the
Lon
Black
Chaney
Lagoon.
Jr. Well, but, okay, so...
I saw Lon Chaney Jr. walking with the... See, this is the thing. My monster appreciation goes deep.
So why does Zed love monsters? And I know some of that is going to be revealed in the book, so we don't want to give anything away. But what is their attraction at the very beginning?
Okay. So I think what's interesting about this book is that because of, I guess, like my approach to life and worldview, and because this is sort of what I sort of think is funny about this book is that it's an own voices book, but I think the most own voices thing about it is not actually Zed being trans necessarily. It's about like the sort of queer sensibilities that's sort of baked into this book
At all sorts of different levels.
Yeah, like they have this book that they're trying to find that's about monsters, and the reason that they like monsters and I like monsters is because historically monsters are so often used as metaphors for other things, especially otherness, and so like a lot of monsters and monster, like if we think of, say, Frankenstein, the 1931 33,
yeah.
James Whale was like an openly gay man who made Frankenstein, and the interesting thing about Frankenstein is that he brings his own sense of otherness because of the, like, you know, homophobia, etc.
Oh yeah.
In the era, and what you get from that movie is not actually a retelling of Frankenstein. It's like you just see so much of the creature longing for community and longing to be loved, and he's an incredibly sympathetic character in the film. And like, I think there's a certain sensibility to monsters where people are afraid of them. People don't like them because they are different. That I think has very obvious ties to especially historical queer experience. So part of like why I love monsters is this kind of, in a sense, reclaiming the way that historically like trans people have been like vilified and othered. So, you know, you have like vampires who, like, you know, prey on innocent people, and I think queers loving vampires has to do with them being like, okay, but you know, vampires are flamboyant as heck.
Yes, Lysander. I have a picture.
They're incredibly fashionable, and this sort of idea of like identifying with the villain because the villain is coded as not normal and often overtly queer, may I say, especially vampires.
For sure, yeah.
So I think a lot of it is when you read a book about monsters, there's a lot of, or when you read, like when you see monsters represented and stuff, I think you would recognize your own experience of like being outcast.
I just like monsters because they're fun to draw.
They are fun to draw. Which one was your favorite monster to draw, actually?
I liked Cassandra.
There's too much to say in a short video.
You could deconstruct. Part of it is that, again, in this book, we touch on issues that you could do a master's thesis on.
Absolutely, and people have.
And people have, yeah. So, like, but the monsters are in there, and for people who read it, they will know why the monsters are in there in some way. Some people who will read it will go, I know why the monsters are in there. And for the people who are like, why are the monsters in there? Zed explained.
Yeah, well, as we all know.
Yeah.
As we all know, like, gay people or queer, any kind of, like, LGBTQ person and monsters, like, there's an affinity there.
Yeah.
Of course.
So it's baked in. I think you're right. It's just part of the texture of what's going on in our book.
Yeah.
All right, and that book that we're talking about, of course, is The Fabulous Zed Watson. All right, final thing. Let's do our Zed Watson pose.